Another thing where martial artists often have a disadvantage when it comes to real world violence is that we have a sense of fair play. We're taught, in most traditional martial arts, we're taught when we're sparring with somebody, we stand a certain distance apart, we both bow to each other, we take up our stances, and we both move in and start exchanging blows or whatever, typical kind of sparring formats. But thugs and criminals have no sense of fair play. All they're interested in is advantage and winning. So you get various tricks like somebody may come up, you may be having an argument with somebody, and then the guy kind of like, oh, come on then, let's forget it, let's just shake hands on it. And as you go to shake hands, he'll pull you on, bang, okay? He's get you lulls you into a false sense of security, takes your balance and hits you while you're off balance, okay? Totally unfair, but that's how they work, that's how they think, okay? And if we only think in terms of competition rules and sparring, then we're going to fall, but chances are we might fall victim for that kind of thing. Another little thing that they'll sometimes do is you're having an argument and they're kind of like saying, forget it, you're not worth it, turn away, and then bang, come back really quickly and hit you. Okay, you can see that kind of thing on YouTube. So it's all about lulling into a false sense of security. Now, in the last module, we talked about fence position, particularly having a loose fence as we're talking. Okay, so again, keep your fence up. If someone kind of like turns away, you're not worth it, turns away, keep the fence there. Expect a reaction to follow up. If it doesn't, then bonus, but you're still protected. If you've got your fence up and you're talking to someone and they offer you their hand, yeah, okay, shake hands, I've still got this other hand up. I may have pulled it back a little bit, but the hand's still there, and it looks quite natural, okay? So don't be kind of lulled into a false sense of security. Always try and expect the unexpected, because they have no sense of fair play at all. We do, and that is our disadvantage. So you've got to bear that in mind if you're interested in self-protection. Okay, straight sparring can sometimes, lead you into a false sense of security. Right, those last couple of examples were obviously to do with social violence. Okay, when somebody's picking a fight with you and there's a build-up to it. Okay, now when it comes to asocial violence, usually very often there'll be no build-up at all. You'll be minding your own business, and then somebody suddenly either pulls a knife out and threatens you, or attacks you, or actually physically attacks you. Now, again, like I say, no sense of fair play, no sense of giving you any warning. You can be minding your own business, and all of a sudden you hit over the back of the head with a kosh. You just got no chance to prepare. Okay, so if you are attacked suddenly by surprise, all the effects of adrenaline that we discussed earlier, they are multiplied. They hit in much faster. So to give you an analogy, if you're walking down the road and suddenly you pass a house, and suddenly a huge big German Shepherd starts coming up, barking at you, and you're, oh, crikey, what the heck was that? And then you kind of like realise, well, it's behind a gate, I'm safe, and you calm down and you walk on. But in that split second of that animal rearing up and barking and growling at you, you have a big adrenaline dump, you walk away, whew. Okay? Now, if you're walking down the same road and somebody says to you, oh, watch out for that dog at number 13, he's very aggressive, and then you're walking down the road, the same thing happens, the dog kind of rears up and barks and growls at you, and you still feel a little bit of, ooh. But the shock's not quite so big, because you was expecting it, okay? You've had a little bit of a chance to prepare yourself for it. And this is where, when we're talking about asocial violence and someone attacks you, that adrenaline, bang, it kicks in really like that, really quickly, just like that. You're dealing with a surprise, confusion, because you wasn't expecting it to happen, pain if the person's actually physically assaulted you. Okay, it could go either way. Somebody might pull out a knife and threaten you, but they might just physically assault you straight away. So you're in pain, confusion, surprise, panic sets in. When panic sets in, very often your brain just closes down and you go into a freeze. We talk about fight, flight, freeze. When someone attacks you and you're not expecting it, very often it's a freeze, even for an experienced fighter. Okay, even for a high grade martial artist who hasn't been in this situation before, freeze very often kicks in. Okay, so that's the kind of things to be aware of, right? Now, if you have been unlucky enough to be involved in some kind of altercation where somebody has picked a fight with you, and we're looking at we're looking at social violence here. Somebody's trying to pick a fight with you. You've done all the precautions. You've put your fence up. You've tried to talk them out of it, and there was no talking them out of it, and you've had to hit them, and you have been successful. Now, you got away with it. Okay, great. Now, it's also worth reporting things to the police, okay? Especially if there's no witnesses around or no CCTV camera around, because very often these guys, if you have got the better of them, they will report it to the police themselves, but they will report it that you started it, you attacked them, you instigated the fight, okay? Now, it's worth bearing in mind from the police's point of view, what they're used to whenever there's been a fight, both sides will always blame the other side. It's always, he started it, no, I didn't start it, he started it. And then both sides will always accuse the other. And very often, or most of the time, the person that started it is the winner. Now that's quite an important point. The person that started it is usually the winner, because the person who started it is normally bigger, stronger, yeah? Okay, then they normally started it because they perceive they've got some kind of advantage over you. Bigger, stronger, having their mates with them, having a weapon or whatever. So normally the winner is the perpetrator. Not always, but very often. So if you're the winner, then the police might suspect you of starting it, especially if somebody turns up at the police station with bruises or bumps, whatever, or whatever you've done to them, and say, that guy attacked me, he started it, he picked the fight, and they're blaming you. So if you report it first, okay, it's always best to get, if there's an incident sheet, the police create an incident sheet or an incident report, and if your name is at the bottom as the victim, then you're in a better position right from the get-go. If your name is on there as the perpetrator or potential perpetrator, and they're investigating you, then that's the way the investigation will go. The investigation will go with the assumption that you're the perpetrator and you have to prove otherwise. So if you get in there first as you are the victim, they were the perpetrator, and they have to prove otherwise. So you actually start yourself in a much, much stronger position. So that's always worth bearing in mind. If you've been in a fight, particularly social violence, report it to the police. This is not likely to be a consideration for asocial violence because they don't want police involved. They don't want any witnesses or any involvement from anybody other than themselves and the potential victim. But certainly, social violence, you get involved, report to the police. Get your name in first as the victim rather than the perpetrator. Okay?